This is our regular meeting. Today's date is Monday, July the 24th. The time is 5:30 p.m. Somebody told me to make note that the city attorney has not arrived yet, but we can go ahead and start without him. So welcome to our regular meeting. We're going to try to follow our agenda. Commissioners, there's been one change. Item number 4 has been asked to be removed, and that was asked by the Art Center of the Bluegrass. So if you'll mark out number 4, then I would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all. All those in favor? Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes.
apparently everybody here is a Presbyterian because they're sitting at the back in the sanctuary, so.
I always
y'all can move up if you
thought
want
that
to.
was the Baptist, okay? But we're going to start our meeting off with a prayer that's going to be led by Commissioner Peak, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which is going to be led by Commissioner Siri, in that order.
Lord, thank you for this day. I ask that you would help us to do the work of the city and work for the citizens and work together as a team. And thank you for all the guests that are here tonight. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. The next item on our agenda is that we've come to the point where the commission will hear from the public. We listen to the public. We try not to respond, but the public is allowed to come to the podium, identify themselves, take 3 minutes or less, and at this stage in our agenda, you may only talk to us about items that are on the current agenda. There's another opportunity later on in the meeting where you can talk to us about anything and everything as long as it's legal, but it doesn't have to be on the agenda. So anyone in the public in attendance would like to speak to the agenda about items on our agenda? Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll move right along. Thank you, Auden, okay? Item number 1 is we have the West T Hill visitors are welcome, and we're going to be presented by Karen Logue, one of our real good friends and citizens of our community. So, Ms. Logue.
Well, good evening. We're awfully glad to be here. I have some hot off the presses brochure that announces our new season.
Cool.
And I will just
Thank you.
give them to each of you. It has all of our shows, our audition dates, and our production dates for the upcoming season, and it looks like it will be a wonderful one. But what we're here tonight to do is to acknowledge 9 years of bringing our friends from Northern Ireland, arts organization very similar to West T Hill called Uplift, and they are here. We bring them here every summer to run 3 weeks of our summer camp, and that's why we are here tonight, to acknowledge them as our community, a sister city of Carrickfergus, Northern Ireland. I'm going to introduce their leader, and he's going to have them maybe sing a little song, and he will tell you just a little bit about them very briefly, okay? All right. Come on, this is Ryan Moffett.
And a little entertainment for us tonight. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, folks. It's lovely to be here. It's not my first time to Danville. I've been here a number of different times. Also, last year we pioneered with Milton Riegelman the Sister City program with the young people who were able to do the student exchange. So it's been great to see not just the art side of it, but also the cultural side of it going on as well. We started Uplift in 2009 with the main focus being to build self-confidence and self-esteem in young people, and that can be anywhere in the world. So we've got a wonderful cast here today that we're able to share a wonderful Irish blessing song with you guys. I suppose Karen never told me I was going to do this, but Seeing as I've got you here, I might as well do it anyway. So next year's our 10-year anniversary of doing this program, and I remember the first year we came, the city really got behind the program, and they helped the program a lot. And since then, I would love to see if I can encourage you to do the same for the 10-year anniversary, because we want to try and bring a few alumni back over and try and make the program even bigger, because it is a 10-year program. And I think it'd be really cool to celebrate that relationship that we have in Carrickfergus that we also have here with Danville as well. So I'm going to put that on your thoughts for the following year ahead. So anything you can think of that you can do to maybe help with that program would be really, really cool and very much appreciated. So guys, I'm going to invite you to come on up, and we're just going to sing a wee song with you.
While they're coming up, I'd like
Yeah.
to make a request of you, the director.
Yes, sir.
Would you pronounce the name of our city 10 times?
Danville. Danville, 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 Danville.
All right. Well, it sounds good coming from you, man.
Thanks very much, mate. No worries. Right, come on over. This rules, so we can roll this out of the way and just make a nice. Just kind of, just here, guys. Face it this way. Yeah, maybe it's the feet, sure. Thank you, folks.
All right. All right. Oh, don't go anywhere. You all have been dismissed. Come on, stand right across in front.
Hey, Ryan, as a gift to you all, we are not going to do the river dance.
You're not going
We're not, yeah. That is,
I think the only one out of this in the whole cast was it the any kind of Irish dances, Paul? No picture? Oh, that'd be cool, yeah.
Y'all are gonna have to push. We can have some of you ready. Yes, there we go. That was it? All right, y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, big smiles.
Miss Lowe? Yeah. We don't want to leave you out.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You're welcome to stay.
wow, that, Okay, Kendall, you have to sing something now. Well, Stephanie.
That was very nice,
That was
very
fun,
unexpected, but very nice. Yeah. It's at the bar high, right? Yeah. Okay. We want to, Well, Dexter and Cottle, they've got some musical experiences. They play instruments and they even
I'm not allowed to
sing.
play with Steven, though.
You're not allowed to play with Stephen?
He has to audition to me first,
Oh,
Mayor. I don't know if we're gonna.
okay, all right. Well, let's move along. The next item on our agenda is Bluegrass Ride Danville update. Lacey Johnson's gonna do that for us. Welcome, ma'am.
That's really not fair. I have to follow that. I'm not excited about that. I have some freshly printed brochures as well, but I will not be singing. I'm going to spare you all of that.
The singing is followed by the dancing, so.
Oh, can't do that either.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I'm Lacey Johnson. I'm the deviated fixed route driver for BG CAP, Bluegrass Community Action Partnership, our new Bluegrass Ride, Danville. You might know it today as DanTran, and we're completely rebranding it. We're extending our routes, as I'll show you. But it's now, we've rebranded it to Bluegrass Ride, and I'm the driver supervisor.
We got some driver's applications here, right?
Yes. So this is our mission statement and what we do. It basically breaks down, that's my favorite on the left there, helping people and changing lives. That's what we're in the business of. And we've already opened up our Georgetown Bluegrass Ride, and it is going amazing. And we definitely have some beautiful stories of lives we've changed and people we've helped. So like I said, in January, I believe it was the 16th, we opened up the Georgetown routes, Bluegrass Ride Georgetown. And since then, compared to this time last year, we've seen a 309% increase in ridership. We did add buses and extend their routes, but the awareness and getting it out to the community, they're loving it over there. And it's just been amazing, great feedback. And we are excited to get started with y'all. So here's our beautiful new buses. We actually parked one across the street. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it over there. Yep, and we have been started training this week, so we've been driving it around town as well on the new routes. We're gonna launch, currently DanTran is one hour-and-a-half loop. We're splitting that up into 3 separate loops that'll be about 45 to 50 minutes. We're gonna launch on August 7th, Monday, August 7th, couple weeks from now. 3 buses will be running, and the best part is, which this is where our barrier comes in, is this is fare-free. Bluegrass Ride has been able to provide free trips around Georgetown now for, well, it started in COVID, but they've been able to continue this, and now we've been able to bring it to Danville. So that is like we're so excited to get that out to the community. They don't believe us with the new buses and everything, get on there, but it's wonderful. The new routes will be extended from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and then on Saturday, we'll have modified times just to shorten it a little bit. The downtown garage center is going to be our transfer station. All 3 buses will merge there every hour. And then the passenger would get off the one bus and go to their next destination. They can transfer to another bus for their destination. Obviously, that's fare-free as well. And that is also our Danville Bluegrass Community Action office. So it all comes together great. I wrote at the bottom, our inner city routes are coming soon. Our master plan through rebranding all of this is to connect all of central Kentucky together through Lexington. So our new inner city routes, once we get the new routes here and then in Nicholasville, will extend into Lexington. So we'll have an inner city route that will go Danville, Nicholasville, Lexington, and back 3 or 4 times a day. And we're also going to have one that goes Frankfort to Lexington and back, and Georgetown to Lexington round trip. So that's our ultimate plan with this. And again, all the riders they're just waiting for that one to come along. But we're going to get our transfer cities set up first. So it's a little bit small up there, but this is what our routes look like. I brought a bunch of these the schedules with. If anybody wants to see me, I can hand them out, or if you want to take them back to your community. These are all our big stops. We're going to hit Walmart, Big Lots, Save-A-Lot, various neighborhoods, the library, the post office. I was really impressed when they put these together with how well they were able to cover Danville. I wrote at the bottom down there, we do perform half-mile deviations. They have to be scheduled within 24 hours in advance. But any stop that is up there, we will drive within half a mile of that stop to pick up the individual if they schedule it. And that currently is still fare-free as well. And we also provide courtesy stops. So anywhere along the route that the driver deems is safe, individuals can get on or off the bus. And the new buses are equipped with the little pull-down wires to ding for them. Then, these are our bus stop signs. We have them actually now finally, and they will be installed shortly within the next 2 weeks. They'll actually have little numbers on the bottom right for the stop that it applies, but if you were to scan that QR code, it would take you to the website and give you the schedule and everything that's in the brochure. And there's just some information about the stops, or the signs. This is our website. They redid the whole Bluegrass, or it was the G-Tran or Dan Tran and Nick Tran. They've redone it to bluegrassride.org. You can, this is the initial page, the homepage up on the left, and then you can click on any of the cities and it will give you an update on where we're at with that city. And then you can even type in addresses and it'll give you a route to plan your trip, what time you need to get on, which route, which bus, etc. They did a great job with the website. And it has, if you scroll down further, it has route breakdowns as well. The only thing we're kind of having difficulty right now is we have 2 drivers right now driving Dan Tran. We've extended our routes, obviously, to 12 hours now, and we're going to have 3 buses. So we are in mad, attaining drivers right now, and we have nowhere to park them. So we were hoping the city could look into maybe helping us with some garage parking passes. We also have extended our BGCAP community office staff, so we're able to help the community action side of that world as well. And with more buses comes more dispatchers, comes more customer service representatives and supervisors. So we're going to have a lot going on in that office, and we're really excited about how it's going to come back to the community. So that's our Bluegrass Ride. Does anybody have any questions for me?
What's the start date, did you say?
August 7th.
August 7th.
Right there, it's on the front, but yeah, August 7th.
Wow. Impressive presentation.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Impressive opportunity for our entire community.
yes, we're super excited about it.
7th of August. How many bus drivers are you trying to obtain?
We currently need probably 3 more part-time bus drivers. We have, the main thing that's holding us back is the training. It's probably a 2-3 week process. So right now, the drivers are going to be driving longer shifts, so we're trying to get a little more part-time, or a few more part-time drivers to fit in there to cut those back to 8-hour rotations.
Wow.
And then we do drive on Saturday, which not a lot of people like to do that, so we rotate them through on that.
So part-time employment?
Yes.
With or without benefits?
Part-timers, we don't have the benefits, but they do get the paid, we have 16 paid holidays, and then our fixed route actually has the main 6 federal holidays off, where the route doesn't run, so they would be off those. And if they do drive on any of the other holidays, they get their pay and the holiday pay. So that's a pretty good benefit.
Wow, that's a benefit in itself. Yes. ma'am.
Yes.
Is the bus across the street tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, sometime tonight, I would suggest that you get a camera out, somebody get a camera out, and we go over as a commission and take a picture in the bus.
Oh, I would
or
love
get
that.
on
That
the
would be
bus
amazing,
and,
yes.
Get some local PR on our own website. Somebody back there knows how to do all this stuff, right? Just to help spread the word. The other question I have is that in some of the meetings that I've attended, we talked about identifiable bus stops, and I think you've got to,
Yes.
want to go
Let me
back,
see.
can you go back to that slide?
I
think
can.
that'll- Yeah, I think that'll really get the attention of folks to realize this is where things are going
Yes,
to go.
it's
And
helped
then-
a lot, yeah.
And I know you've used you've transported a lot of Center College students.
Yes.
And then you're going to be going to Lexington, so I imagine that would be a great benefit for the Center College students as well as all of us. There are no age requirements.
13 and over, you mean for the riders or the drivers?
The riders.
Riders is 13 and over, they can ride by themselves. 12 and under has to have a guardian of 18 or older.
Wow, that's really
Yes.
neat, yes.
We've had a lot of kids over the summer ride up to the pavilion or what your fitness center would be in Georgetown to go to the pools for the summer, so they're excited about that. And our new buses are actually equipped with a booster seat. It's a built-in booster seat. So there's no car seat yet, but the children requiring booster seats actually have that availability already built into the bus.
And 16, 20 passenger buses?
They are 14 passenger buses.
okay.
That way we don't require a CDL.
Okay, wow. Wow. Glad you showed up tonight and made this great presentation. Wow.
Thank you.
Commissioners, others, and they want to say thanks to staff too, because I know staff's been working right along with getting this done.
Oh,
so
yes, very
Always give out a
helpful, yes.
shout out to staff because it's.
Yeah,
it's-
Public Works they're going to help install the signs, and we're going to be working on this over the next few years. We first met about So we'll have to get all these bus stops into ADA compliance. That's something that we're going to help Bluegrass Cap do, you know, to provide some additional labor to get to work on the stops, because that's one of the big things with transit is making our stops comfortable for people to get to and use. So you know, with this being free, this is a big opportunity for us, especially as we talk about downtown and getting people downtown, and, you know, you can get from out of the edge of town to downtown for free on a bus every hour. That's a pretty big deal.
Complicated things. If you'll go back to the map.
Yes.
The area that is where all the industrial, the largest load of industrial jobs are down Lebanon Road. We acknowledge as you go home, this question will come up to you the more you look at the map. We have talked to them about that. There's been dialogue. We've actually talked about it with the EDC last year some, and we're still working on ideas for that. But the initial objective was to get up and running. And so that's where we're at today. We want to get up and running and then let the thing morph into what it needs to become to provide the maximum service to the community.
And the extension to BCTC as we make those phone calls, right? Because that's.
Oh, okay.
Because again, that's an issue with transportation with folks going to BCTC, so
Okay.
great connector.
I did want to mention too, Scott reminded me, all of our buses are equipped with lifts, so we can, anyone needing assistance getting on the bus, all of our drivers are trained in securing and assisting anyone needing assistance to get on.
Lacey, to be clear and for the benefit of tourism, you say within a half a mile, so Hampton Inn and those hotels there, would they, if they called in and asked for a pickup, would they be able to come off route and do that?
Can you let me, I'm from Frankfurt, so I only know like
Okay.
right off the route. So where would those be at on the?
They're to, yep, they're to the east.
They would be within the half mile. We've talked about it a little bit. I think the tricky part with the hotels is the hours that the routes run. So if it's in the evenings, if it's after, you know, usually people are at the hotels after hours. This is a daytime service. So, but yes, it will be. I
That's
think
a good point.
you definitely service them during the hours.
And on the, that just reminded me, looking at that one, there's like a darker gray circle around the map. That is kind of an estimation of where those half-mile deviations will reach. And we still do provide our medical on-demand side, and it's $1 a mile, minimum $5 if you call to schedule it. And that's door-to-door service, and if that might help like a BCTC situation, they could get to a stop and then get to BCTC from there. Regarding the on-demand or medical, you can kind of merge them.
Great opportunity, yep. So August the 7th, you start at 8:30 in the morning?
6:30.
Well, I was going to be
6:30 to 6:30.
Well, I won't be the first rider then. I was going to say I'll be the first rider.
Worry about it.
6:30, I'm gone. Well, ma'am, thank you though for bringing this to our community.
Thank you so much. I
Sounds like
appreciate you
a
all.
tremendous opportunity.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind staying for that picture,
I'd be happy to.
graciously.
Thank you.
So I'm going to get with the parking folks and look and see if we have spaces available in the parking garage, and we'll work that internally and see if it's something we can provide. But it makes a lot of sense if you can trade off a few parking spaces in the garage for the ability to bring all of these people into town. So we're looking at that as a possible remedy for them.
That's really amazing, guys. Any other questions or comments from the commission? You guys okay? Well, let's move to the next item. CVB update from Mr. Clinton. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Always like to be able to share all the different projects we're working on. We've got quite a few happening right now, but since the last time I was here, we, of course, passed our budget for the fiscal year, so I wanted to go over that a little bit, tell you what we've got lined up. So FY23, we won't get our year-end actuals back for another week or so, but based on the projections we had of how things were going, we are going to far surpass what we had budgeted to bring in revenue for the current fiscal year. So that allowed us to take our budget from $243,000 the past fiscal year up to $322,000 for the current fiscal year. So it gives us a lot more funds to market and advertise and do some other projects. We've also got ARPA funds that we knew were going to get carried over, and then we just had some general tax, transient tax revenue we still have to work with. So we've got quite a bit in the budget to do things we're wanting to do. We've increased our marketing and advertising budget. We work with an agency out of Lexington called Balance Creative. We're going to spend quite a bit of money with them to advertise both in-state, in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. Got a pretty good, robust marketing plan with them, both with our own money and with some ARPA funds that we're allowed to use for some of our marketing efforts. We're going to be able to print probably another 50,000 brochures next year and have those distributed with ARPA money through AdRack. And we're sponsoring a TV show that's going to be filming here in the fall. It's an outdoor fishing show that's been around for a number of years. We're sponsoring that show. I think they're going to film sometime in October. Still waiting to get a final date on that. And the revenue itself just is a good reflection that tourism is rebounding post-COVID. The state puts out a report every year to show statewide and county by county what the tourism economic impact was. And I was hoping to have that by now. They usually have it sometime in June or July. I'll probably get it tomorrow. But I'm sure that's going to reflect an upward trend that we're all seeing throughout the state. So that's our budget in a nutshell. There's a lot more detail to it. And I probably should have emailed you all a copy of that, which I'll do tomorrow so you all can see all the line items in there. But now I'd like to talk about our projects we're working on. We just finished up a very aggressive photography and video project using a combination of ARPA and EDA funds. We had a photographer here for 6 separate days. She shot, was providing me probably with close to 1,500 photos. So we've got a lot of photos to use in our brochures, on our website, social media, things like that. And I have a hard drive that I've just started to look through that has hours and hours of new video on there. So we're going to have a lot to be able to use over the coming years. And since they shot in the late spring, early summer, I don't have any fall shots. So I'm going to bring them back probably in October, get the new sidewalk so you can really capture the look of downtown, and then get the pumpkin patches and fall leaves, that kind of thing. So we'll have kind of photos we can use throughout the year. Another ARPA-funded project we're working on, we partnered with several cities in Kentucky, Lexington, Louisville, Lawrenceburg, Pike County, Lebanon, and Owensboro to apply for a ARPA grant for $500,000 to fund a 8-part TV show called Distilled in Kentucky. And it's a singer-songwriter series where up-and-coming singers, songwriters, think Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson. Each town will get assigned one, and they will do an entire series here. And I've got a Zoom call tomorrow to find out more details. We just found out the grant got awarded a couple weeks ago, so we're still working through that. But that's going to be really nice to have that here. The goal is to get this put on a platform, think Netflix, that will really get us out there, and we'll have an entire episode all about Danville. So that'll be nice for us. Another campaign, and also the people behind this, the host is Silas House, and the co-producer is David Helmers, who is behind the Railbird Festival. So to give you a little background on who's involved in that. Another project we're involved in is a regional project. Danville, we're part of the Bluegrass Tourism Region, which is 15 counties in central Kentucky. Back in February, we received $500,000 to do a campaign called Joyride. And there was ARPA money left over, so we applied for more, and now we have $1 million that we're going to spend on this Joyride campaign. And that's going to get kicked off pretty soon. It's going to be a combination of earned media, where we approach journalists to come in and kind of cover our Joyride campaign, paid media, billboards, newspaper or magazine ads, some digital. And the whole concept behind it is to come take a joyride on the back roads of Kentucky. And each county will have their own assets as far as imagery, posters, that kind of thing. Ours has got they all have a little Jeep in it. And little Jeeps driving through Constitution Square in ours. And of course in Lexington, it's the horse farms. So all the imagery kind of matches up, and we'll be able to use that for several years as well. I did want to follow up too on the letters each of you all received about the stone fences signed by the CVB board. Last week I sat down with Judge Bottom and Earl, and started a discussion about some ideas, how we could actually get that process started, and had some good conversations about that. And the idea behind this came out of a discussion about our tourism assets, and we all decided that, you know, the stone fences were pretty important, not only locally, but for people coming in. You know, it is a bit of a tourist attraction, so I appreciate Earl and Trilly and the city and the county working together with us on this to make it a priority. Last thing, anybody who loves Danville or Boyle County and likes to tell a story, I'd love to have them sign up to be a volunteer at the state fair. Magistrate Tom Ellis asked me several months ago to get with Allie at Main Street Perryville and get us back at the state fair in the Pride of the County's booth. So the CVB board is going to pay for the booth. Allie's kind of taking the lead on this, and we've got probably 60% of the volunteers we need to staff the booth. It's a 10 by 10 booth, so we only need like 1 to 2 volunteers per shift, and each one of them is 5 hours from 10 to 3 and then 3 to 8. And we still need volunteers for Monday, August 21st, Wednesday the 23rd, Thursday the 24th, Saturday the 26th, and Sunday the 27th. Me and my wife are taking an entire day. We're going to be up there 10 hours. Allie's going to be there the first day to set it up and the last day to close it down. And we've got a variety of other volunteers who are going to help out. You get a free ticket to get in, and we're working on matching T-shirts so everybody has the same brand for us at the fair. So if anybody's interested in that, they can call me or Allie, and we can get you signed up. We both have access to the same spreadsheet, so we know what shifts are available. Just need your T-shirt size and an email address, and we'll get you signed up. So if you got any questions about that or anything else.
Want to shout out that number? Telephone
My
number?
phone number? What is my phone number? 859-618-6667.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, great report.
Yeah,
Any,
good.
any questions or comments from the commission? Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you for the great update. Okay. Next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. Chair would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes. I have the dates in front of me.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, for the July the 10th, 2023, and July the 12th, 2023 minutes, okay? Thank you all for the motion and the second. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you all. Next item is Resolution 2023-07-2401, landing page agreement. Ms. Crossfield is that item.
Okay, so we've been talking about the landing page for a while now, but just a little background, it will kind of serve as a directory for our community. When people search for Danville online, they'll be directed to this site, and whatever they're looking for, no matter whether they're a resident or a visitor, if they're interested in starting a business, they'll be able to find it here. So the idea is that we'll have this one landing page, simple design with events and other agencies that will be linked to the page. So if they're looking for, you know, how to pay their utility payments, we'll be able to link to all the utilities in the area, decide who their provider is, and then link them directly to their payment portal. A couple other features that we felt were important were a community events calendar. We do have the one on our site. Honestly, it doesn't look very good, so this one will look better. And I know Kendall has an events calendar on the tourism page as well, and so if we can just kind of bring those together and other organizations in our community to make sure it's all in one place, that's the goal. And so we will be working with all of these other agencies to just make sure that all the information that's needed is included. And also that everyone's websites are up to date and current, and the information that people are looking for is there. And so it is going to be a real community effort. And we've been working with the Danville Boyle County Development Corporation on this, and they did see this as a priority for our community because this will be our online presence in whole. And so they have agreed to move forward with covering the development and design costs of this project. And the proposal was in your packets. And so that's a good portion of the project, but seeing as this is, we will be managing the site, I will be taking on that responsibility for the city. We will manage the ongoing costs if you agree. So do you have any questions in looking over the proposal or just thinking about the design of the page? Obviously, we'll be taking suggestions. We'll kind of form a little task force around this and working with the Development Corporation to make it happen.
So I guess the city will do $650 per month?
Yeah, it's going to be
Ongoing?
$650 per month.
Okay.
So to start, not all of those costs will start at once. So to get us started, the Development Corporation is going to cover the media package, which is much needed. It's very similar to what Kindle's had done, but we're going to focus a lot on things that the city's working on. We're going to focus on citizens, like, living in Danville, and then get some good videos and just activities, what it's like living in Danville, working in Danville. And then the media or the website hosting will begin as soon as the design process begins. And then later on, the CRM and maintenance cost will kick in. So we will be paying approximately $650 a month once it's all said and done.
Okay. Other questions or comments?
Will the Idea Farm be able to use some of the CVB's 1,500 professional photos, or is that a separate thing?
That is up to the CVB.
Okay.
But with the media package that we're planning, they have agreed to let us use them for the community. So we'll likely create a shared file where other organizations can use it as well. I mean, right now, we're all sharing the same 3 photos anyway, so.
Okay. And the Development Corporation's paying for that part in full?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
in
thank
full, right up front.
And it's connecting, hopefully it'll connect, like you said.
Yeah, so in the proposal, there are a few ideas.
Yeah.
Realistically, the page they took a lot of the images off of our current website, so it will look different than this. But initially, it will link to your local governments, so the county and city, Paravel, Junction, and then other things like where residents, visitors, what is the other? Culture and recreation and business. And so that's kind of your starting point. There's also going to be a live chat feature. So during business hours, if somebody's having difficulty finding something, they can just chat with us and we'll let them know. And we have the ability to create forms that would go directly to the appropriate agency. So we currently actually have that ability on our own website, but it's only within the city. So with this, if they had a question and it was maybe for the Boyle County government, then we could have that form sent directly to the appropriate office.
And all of this is going to be user-friendly,
That's the idea.
right?
Will
Yeah.
there be an app with it that you can use on
There
your
is
phone?
not an app with this, but they tout the mobile-first design because most people are looking at the internet on their phone, and so it's going to be really responsive depending on what screen you're looking at. The chat feature will make sense on your phone when you look at it. There won't be an app, but it will be a good mobile design.
Other questions?
I'll move for acceptance of resolution 2023-07-2401.
Second?
Thank you all for that. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is the second reading of ordinance number 2020. Madam Clerk, you want to read the ordinance for us, please?
This is the second reading of ordinance number 2020, an ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Danville, Kentucky.
Thank you, ma'am.
I move for approval of ordinance 2020, second read.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Cottle?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes.
Mayor Atkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Holland? Yes. Commissioner Saris?
Yes.
Thank you all. Next item is resolution. Resolution 2023-072402, cemetery buyback. Ms. Rader?
Elton Chambers is asking the city to purchase back one grave in Bellevue in the amount of $358. We're just asking for your approval.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-072402.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you all. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is City Manager's Report. Mr. Kaufman?
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. Would like to begin with a pointing out of August the 4th, the 10th, our special call meetings, one for the comprehensive plan discussion with you folks. Another is a joint city-county parks discussion, the 10th. The 14th is a regular commission meeting. Would like to point out that the week of the 16th is when school starts. And then August the 28th is your next commission meeting. Those are important dates right now in August that we would like to get on your radar. In terms of disruptions of normal operations, the software transition that is still remaining underway and is fairly complicated. It's finance is really the epicenter of that, obviously, with utility billing, and so we continue to ask for patience. The reporting system right now is still cumbersome, and so as we work through that, as that gets fully implemented, it hopefully will transition over the next 45, 60 days to where it's fully functional, and we see more of a regular practice using the software. Of course, CVB mentioned the stone fence maintenance, and we appreciated that, and a lot of work to do there. But we'd also like to point out, we had some discussions about cleaning up the bypass. There's areas of the bypass that have grown up. Most of it's on state right-of-way. And so what we'll continue to do, for example, the easiest place to point to, because folks are aware where the new restaurant's being built at the intersection of Houstonville Road and the bypass, there's a lot of old right-of-way there that was clear before. It grows up, and unfortunately, it's getting some brush. And the mowing is one thing, but when it's brush, it becomes a real problem. So we're going to continue to work with the state and try to find solutions for those areas, as well as the stone fences. Most of those, some of those are in the county. The bypass obviously is in the city. We'll worry about that more directly. Since I wrote the report, there was a couple of updates. I talked to Commissioner Holland earlier today, and she was asking some questions. And so we do have an update on the wayfinding first. Go ahead.
So we got our permit approval this morning for our wayfinding signage. So we're going to start on putting the bid documents together and get that bid out here in the next month or so. So we'll keep you updated. But that's just happened today. So after 5 long years, we finally have our wayfinding permit.
Yeah, and so that is for, the permit right now covers everything around the bypass. So it covers from roundabout all the way, or is it strictly on 127?
No, it's every kind of bypass and entrance into town is this first permit is for. We had two sectors. One sector was kind of around the city, and the second sector was kind of more towards in downtown. This is for the first sector.
And so we're going to be continuing to look at modernizing all the signs, like we talked about, the Welcome to Danville signs. Those are in disrepair, some of them, they're just old. And so we're working on redesign of those. Josh is talking about doing a design build possibly, but we want the look of those Welcome to Danville signs to be consistent with our wayfinding. Also, the championship signs where we celebrate the state championships of our various schools in the community. We're working towards aligning those with the same look. Those are also, 25 years old and probably ready to be just redone. And so we're working on all of those, and we would just like to point that out. If you see some of them coming up and down or looking haggard, we're working on all of those issues.
And we may start removing some of the Welcome to Danville signs, the ones that have been hit hard by that windstorm we had a couple months ago and showing a lot of damage. So we may already start taking those down because we're already working on a new solution for them.
Yep. And by taking them down, we would clean out the vegetation and get them back. A lot of them have a stone foundation, and probably get them all the way back to that stone foundation ready to be rebuilt. Something I'd like to mention is the speed study. Commissioner Holland asked the question, so I think it's good to tell the whole commission. We worked on, Chief Gray and I, a few years ago on Maple Avenue. Some of the speed limit signs were confusing and not necessarily consistent with what you would naturally expect the speeds to be signed. We went through a process with the state where we learned, and there was a time when local control, so the local police chief had a lot of sway to the commission to suggest speed limits, and the commission could authorize those changes, or the city manager and city manager form of government. However, the state felt like that was a reduction in roadway capacity. When you slow the speed, you derate a road. And so then all speed limit changes on the state roads were cycling through the state engineer's office then, which is the location that I was trying to think of the phrase earlier today. And so we will, upon several requests from citizens and whatnot, we'll revisit the Maple Avenue speeds with them. And then also we're going to talk about Bergen Road with the state to try to align the signage with how the state or how the community has grown. When the speeds were set, DCA wasn't there, for example, and Colonial Heights wasn't as developed as it is now, as Commissioner Holland pointed out earlier today. And so we're going to include both of those requests and revisit that through the state office. So just to put that on your radar, not that it may come back anytime soon. It may be that speed limit signs change and you'll know why, but we would like to point that out. If you get complaints, please feel free to push those to us, and then we'll continue to look at those on an individual basis to see if we can incorporate those into any result that comes out of Frankfurt.
I'd like to request that you had Maple Avenue up by Argyle as well.
That's where yes, that is one of them, yes. So that was the original one. It was, as a matter of fact, it was when you were a commissioner that initiated that, because the speed limits don't align with that blind hill, and then also the flashing lights, and they just, it's not logical. It's not as logical as it would seem, and so we tried to fix that once, and then the state wanted to do what they called a speed study, and so we'll revisit all those with them and try to see if we can't urge those along.
So the state they'll study this, and then what they'll do is they'll look at, this might not be the term deviant behavior. So they'll look for the outliers of speed, and they'll set the speed limit as what is reasonable, what people travel through that area. They won't use speed limit as a mechanism to slow people down from the normal speed that they go. They won't. That's not their intent when they set the speed limit. But I was talking to Earl earlier. When you look at the crash data on Bergen Road, for example, it's rear end crashes is the majority of your crashes. So people are going too fast and can't stop when somebody in front of them stops, which is a sign that we need to slow people down. So when we do that Safe Streets for All grant that we got through the federal highways, we'll work with Tony and we'll look at these sections of street that have those issues, because we won't necessarily just use speed limit as a mechanism to slow people down. We'll work with the state to come up with some safety measures to try to slow the traffic down naturally through some geometric changes or things like that we can look at, some signage, striping. If there's things that we can do to kind of slow cars as they go through there. And we'll kind of redo these speed tests as we make these changes to see if there's the changes to the general flow of traffic.
Well, thank you, because just on the outskirts of town, by neighborhoods, it's 55 miles an hour. So, thank you. Josh, I had forgotten what the signs that got approved look like. Some of us here, we would see a group of signs and then it wouldn't get approved. Could maybe that be brought back in a couple weeks?
Yeah, and I think too, with the wayfinding, with the permit getting approved, what I might get with Melanie, and we might post something that says, hey, our wayfinding signs got approved, here's an example, look for these coming, in a few months, kind of thing, and we could, if you all think that's okay, just let the public know that we're working on it.
Yeah, and you all will be approving the purchase and the results of the RFP process. So there will be two expenses, one buying them and then two installing them. And so we'll look for the total cost, and then we'll break it out also probably.
So the sign, the Welcome to Danville sign out by Bull County is gone. Did it just blow over, or is it?
Yes, they blew over in the storm,
Okay.
yep.
'Cause I thought it's.
Yeah, there were several of those posts. This year particularly, they were all installed about the same time. There were some of those posts that had rotted over time. And so the wind that we've had this spring, there were several of them that took wind damage all at the same time. The Lebanon Road one was bent over also.
We lost the top of the Bergen Road one. The Junction City one laid over, but we were able to stand it back up. So we've been looking at several of them having damage.
Coffey, anything else?
No, sir, thank you all.
Any other questions to Mr. Coffey?
I had a time question, and
Yeah.
thank you once again for getting the dates and the manager report out Friday. It was helpful. August 4th, what time is the commission comprehensive plan discussion?
I think it was supposed to start at 10. for
10 to
both of those.
12?
10 to 12 for both the 4th and the 10th.
On the 10th, okay.
And on the 10th? Okay,
Yes.
because I had one place that said 9 o'clock and one place that said,
Yeah,
Yeah, so so what we've asked her to do, when we start scheduling a meeting like that, we will send you a meeting invite through Outlook. And so if you accept those, it will populate your Outlook calendar, and you should get a reminder of it that day. If you want an individual reminder for like 2 days before that or something, you'll have to go in there on your own Outlook and set that but it should populate your calendar once you've accepted that.
I did send the 4th, and it is at 10. We have not found a meeting space for the 10th yet. I'm currently working on that. As soon as I have a meeting place, I'll send out the Outlook invite.
My memory says that the August 10th is 9 a.m. I think we agreed on that. Is that right? Okay. Is that good with everybody?
It's good with me.
Also, just as a matter of record, August 14th meeting, things will go very smoothly. I'll be absent.
That was a nice way to get that in, wasn't it? Okay, other questions or comments from the
No.
city manager?
I'm just excited about the wayfinding. It's been so long that I forgot where we were going.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I
don't know which way we're pointing.
Commissioner Holland came in and was asking about that today, and it's one of those that it's very, very frustrating. And it's a little bit embarrassing too, because you have no control over it. So I give credit to Josh for doing enough work to get it approved, which can be hard. We fought with those two wooden poles up there on the corner of 4th and Main since 2013. These traffic signal poles. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move right along with our agenda. At this point, we're at this place where we hear the public. The public may be recognized and may approach the podium, identify themselves, and take 3 minutes or less to share what's on their mind with the commission tonight. Is there anyone? Well, we'll move right along. Commissioner comments. I guess they got all those questions answered in the last presentation. Commissioner comments? You guys got anything?
I'll share that Jack Hendricks with the Veterans Day luncheon, they do one for the city and county employees, usually for Thanksgiving. He said that it's going to be November 10th from 11 to 2. So they're excited they get to have that this year again. I'm sure he'll come and let everybody know, but he wanted me to.
Update at the next meeting on it, to confirm the location and whatnot.
It's at the
No,
VFW, it's at the VFW, he said.
Good. They've had a terrible time out there this year.
But this is the one for city and county employees, though,
Yes,
right? Not
and-
the
yeah.
Veterans Day thing, okay.
Right.
All right.
And then the parade, I said that committee has set up the parade for the fall, for Christmas, which is exciting, that they're on that already. Heard a lot of good comments.
Do you have a date for that already?
I think December 9th is what I believe.
So real quick, let me interrupt real quick. So there is some dialogue with folks tied to the parade, downtown restaurants that want to do something more elaborate around Christmas. It will include some financial commitment of the city. We don't know what that is fully yet. We've gotten some emails from them initially, but we'd like to sit down with them and meet and see what, so we'll anticipate that. And the idea, Melanie might want to just jump in, and because she's been working on it the most, and I want to give her the credit for it, but there's an idea of, multiple weekends through and around Christmas of having something active in Wizziger Park, for example, that's different perhaps each weekend, but have something each weekend, including maybe even Santa Claus. So we'll just understand that we'll bring that back as we gather more, but we'll have to make a decision pretty soon. And so we would like, it's going to be 3 weeks, so I would anticipate maybe a discussion, maybe even on the 14th of August at the regular meeting.
Any other commissioner comments?
I've had a lot of compliments on the roundabout looking great, so Divines is doing a great job. Just beautiful, beautiful. And block party, Millennium Park, this Saturday, 12 to 9, and bring out the kids. It's all free. Tons of inflatables, like 2 hills of inflatables.
Is this the back-to-school one?
Yeah, Saturday, July 29th. So. It's already back to school.
Oh, boy.
Kudos to tourism, Doc Dogs. Went out there with the grandchildren. Festive, festive, festive. A lot of people. It was good.
The dogs, too. Yeah, a lot of dogs, too. But good weather for it all, though. Soul of Second Street is August the 4th, I think, that weekend, the first weekend in August. The 4th is going to be down at, I call it the Morley's Place, and the 5th is going to be at Constitution Square. I don't know the exact times, but I think those are the dates. Okay? Other commissioner comments? All right. There's something in my mind about Christmas that I wanted to get us to discuss, but I'm going to leave it
Hear about
alone.
your list. I'm not getting anything.
My list has gotten real long here all of a sudden, man. Dang, come.
I think it was buying gifts for all your fellow commissioners.
No, it wasn't that, but let's move along. The next item on the agenda is the payment of the bills. You've had a nice, long list. Is there a motion to approve the payment of the bills?
I'll move to approve the bill list in the amount of $459,622.35 as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any additions or deletions? Hearing and seeing none, let's move the motion. All those in favor of paying the bills as presented?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next 3 items belong to Josh Morgan.
Yes.
Resolutions. Josh?
Thank you all. The first item on the agenda is the procurement of a ride-on sweeper for Public Works. This was an item that we budgeted in this year's capital budget. We are asking to procure it through Sourcewell, through their procurement method that we use for equipment. That is a kind of cooperative purchasing process. The amount for the ride-on sweeper that we selected is $82,895.88. We'll use this piece of equipment to sweep out not only our warehouses where we, the Bisco building and also the meter shop, but also we'll use it in the parking garage. We can't fit our standard street sweeper in the parking garage, so we have to rent So we've rented a ride-on sweeper for the past few years. In the past couple of years, we've had a lot of trouble even finding one to rent, and the costs have gone up a lot. So that's why we talked about in this year's budget purchasing, just so we can keep it and maintain it ourselves, and hopefully it lasts, 10, 15 years, and we get a good product out of it. We down at the Public Works Garage, since we're finishing up those offices, they've put a lot of effort into cleaning up down there to keep the dust down. That's one of the things that garage just stays dusty with the amount of equipment we bring in and out of there. So this piece of equipment, if we're able to run it often instead of having to wait till we rent it every few months, we'll be able to keep that a lot cleaner. And the parking garage as well, we've got a lot of complaints this spring about it looking dirty and kind of being dingy. So we put effort into cleaning there, and this will help us with that in the future.
So it's a big number, but if you break it out, if you just get 10 years worth of use out of it, if you divide it by 10, we're going to far exceed $8,000 a year in rentals of various equipment for the parking garage and all the opportunities. So this, actually, you'll get them more use out of it, maybe even park or a sidewalk that you can't fit the regular sweeper truck in, parking lot or something. So there's more opportunities than just the garage and the Public Works building. But just to simplify the number for you, it looks like a big number, but if you get 10 years out of it, look at it like it's $8,000 a year. We pay that, we rent quite a bit of equipment for that over the course of a year.
Okay.
I move for approval of Resolution 2023-072403.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you all. Any other questions or comments?
So this will be used more than just the parking garage and, you'll keep the big sweeper,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes, we'll keep the big sweeper, and it'll still do our streets. And then,
Street
like,
sweeper.
so other places we've talked about maybe using this is trails, keeping the big truck off of trails. Especially, we get a lot of complaints, and for some reason it does gather a lot of debris. The bridge over Spears Creek by DCA, the trail there, accumulates a lot of debris. So we can fit this sweeper and get some tighter spaces. And I need to look at what the weight is and everything, but we could use it on sidewalks and things. Like, there's definitely other places we could use it besides just those two locations.
Yep. I can think of a lot of alternate uses. I'm glad you guys brought that up. Because even Wisiger Park, if you cleaned off the chairs and tables, you can make a run through there.
Okay. Other comments? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Josh, the next one is the KYTC TAP grant.
Yes, back in the spring, we applied for a KYTC TAP grant, a Transportation Alternative Program grant, for the sidewalk on Boffman Avenue on the north side. In that round of grants, they only awarded a handful of grants throughout the whole state. They had a limited amount of funds, but they told us at the time they were gonna do another round this year. Well, that round is due August 15th, our application is. So I'm asking tonight that we reapply for that same project again. It's a good project. I think it's definitely worthy of this grant. When we looked through the application process, it matched up well with what they were looking for. I was really surprised we didn't get it the first time. I think it was just a matter of the limited, I think they only gave, I think it was 5 projects for the whole state. It was some very small number. So we're asking to reapply for that. That is a $500,000 project, which it's a 20% match, so the city will obligate $100,000 towards it, but we can use municipal road aid funds. And if we're awarded it, that will be budgeted in the FY 20, I've got 24 on here. That might be a holdover from this previous application. Would probably be FY 25 before we would need to obligate those funds.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments?
I'll move for acceptance of Resolution 2023-07-2404.
Second.
Thank you all.
My comment is you thought wayfinding was a long time. This Boffman Avenue's been talked about for 38 years, I know.
Getting closer, and a lot of the time, the residents were sort of opposed to assisting giving up from land, but you're right. Okay, all those in favor of Resolution 2307-2404, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you all. Next one, Josh, is Jenny Rogers.
So, give you all the background of this change order. So when we purchased the building, we got a hazardous materials report from the schools, and there were 3 things identified as definitely having asbestos. One was floor tiles, the other was some insulation wrap around some piping, And the third was there was an insulation in the roof system that had it. So we were aware of those three. So we had mitigated a lot of the floor tile beforehand. We went in last year before we even started the project and mitigated a lot of it. We run into a little bit more of that was covered by carpet. That was on the change order we talked about a few meetings ago. And then we had taken some wrap off of the piping as well, but we were trying to avoid getting into the roof structure insulation. And when we were proposing to do sprinklers as part of this project, we knew we would have to attach to the structural system up in the roof, but we didn't think we'd have to get into those. And we haven't, but what we didn't know, and wasn't any of those reports, is that the glue dots on the back of the old ceiling tiles that were attaching them to that structure were asbestos. The glue was. That's something that when the Brown Sprinkler came in, the sprinkler subcontractor came in to start their work, they looked at it and said, we're worried about this. We want this tested. So we tested it, and it was asbestos. So what that meant is that we need to get everywhere that they have to penetrate that old ceiling, we have to get that abated. We have to get that taken down by an asbestos abatement contractor. Easier part in the classrooms, there's a newer drop ceiling that when they came in to do the HVAC project in '99, they put a new drop ceiling below that. So we can go in and we can spot abate. We can just cut out where they need to attach at, and we can just take those sections out and just leave them out. And it's going to be covered by a drop ceiling anyway. We don't have to worry about how it looks. That's a portion of this cost, is to do that spot abatement. There's 200 spots they have to abate in the classrooms throughout. They're going to give us a per square foot price, and this is a not to exceed number. They're going to try to keep that lower. They're going to just abate what they have to and try to keep that square foot cost as low as they can. But in the corridors is the hard part. We can't spot abate the corridors because those ceilings are still visible, and we were planning on keeping them visible at the end of the project. So what's included in this change order would be removing all of that tile and the glue, and then putting new drywall up where the ceiling tiles were. So we would take out the old ceiling tiles, and we'd have a brand new asbestos-free drywall ceiling in the corridors and in the entry area. So that's how the cost got up to. The cost for this change order is $174,769.72. It's actually quite a bit lower than the first numbers they were telling me. When this first popped up, they were talking about $500 million, and I didn't know what to do with that. So that was actually, if we can get this under 150, which I'm hoping we can with some spot abatements, I think we've got it in a reasonable range. But the good thing is, we even talked about through this process, do we just not do sprinklers then? Like, do we just abandon sprinklers? But what that does is it limits us on how we can use the building. We were going to have to do some firewalls and different things to separate different uses, and it was going to limit how we could use the building in the future. We talked about originally, for me, this is a 50-year project of like, how do we make this building as useful as we can? And to limit the use didn't seem like the right thing to do. But then the ceilings themselves, they're not attractive. The old ceiling tiles are not attractive. We'll get a nice, clean, painted, that's what all that's included in this price. Drywall, paint, everything, to get a nice, clean ceiling in the corridors and in the entry area. So we'll get a better long-term aesthetic product for us as the city by doing this. It's kind of forcing us to do that. But in the end, we'll get something we'll like better anyway. So here's that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I really did think about other ways we could handle this as far as the sprinkler system goes, because that's really what the driver for this is. Otherwise, we wouldn't touch the ceilings. But it's in the long run, I think if we're looking at this as something for the city to use for 20 to 50 years, this is something we need to do to move the project forward. And that's the other part of this. The project's currently on hold as we wait on this. The sprinkler company, they pulled out and said, we're not touching anything until you get these abated, and we'll be back when you're done. So the project's kind of on hold. They're doing work on the outside, try to get the site work done while the weather's good, but the inside's pretty well held up until we get a decision on this and move forward, which means I'll come back to you all probably at a future meeting with a contract date change to the project. Once we get going, they're going to give me a schedule that says, okay, now here's our new finish date, and I'll come back with that date later on for another change order for time.
Okay, do we have a motion on this one? Not with you.
I move for approval of resolution 2023-072405.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and I guess that motion includes to not to exceed that price, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but you couldn't get them to commit to a lower price?
Well, they,
You think you can do it for less than?
Well, they took the 200 spaces, and they said the 200 spots they have to abate in the classrooms, and they said, okay, we'll estimate at the most 4 square feet per spot. So they took that number and applied it. If they can keep it down to 2 or 3, I think they will keep it. I think they'll be lower than this. And I think that I'm going to lean on them to try to meet that, because they've expressed that throughout, and they like to do things that way just so they can. We'll keep track of it. We'll keep an eye on how they do it. But yes, I think this was like 4 square foot per space, and then we'll see if we can keep it under that.
You did such a good job with the bedrock out of tennis courts. So I was kind of hoping that they could come through. They should have, seems like they should have thought about that themselves.
Yeah, I've thought about that a little bit, but this is another one of those situations where even if we had found this glue ahead of time, we would still be paying to do this. Like, this is not, this building has had a lot of secrets that we were not aware of. And I think that's just part of it with something like this, especially a building built in that era. It hit a lot of stuff, and the schools had done a lot of work since then to cover those things up. They had put new drop ceilings in, and they put different things in to cover up the old parts. And we're kind of slowly peeling that apart and finding them as we go.
Yeah, and so you're really making the decision in layers, is what it amounts to. And so the idea, do you sprinkle the building or not, or fire separation? Sprinkling seems like a better decision. Would that lead you to discover this additional bit of asbestos that you previously, we stood there in the hall, we've looked at the ceiling tile before, and we were, the mindset is that leave it alone if you can. It's not that ugly, it's not this or that, but at the end of the day, so if you get into the hall and you start messing with it and then replace it all, modernize that space, and that's permanent, right? That was our mindset, which is how ultimately, I'm comfortable with recommending it on our side because of that. You're making incremental decisions over how you renovate the building, and so that you're not just going in and doing a $20 million project to make the building all modern, that kind of thing. We are truly renovating it as incrementally as possible. Say it like that.
Okay, all right. Other comments or questions?
Have they looked at the whole building? Does it cover the whole building? Or will there be potential?
This is the entire building.
So there shouldn't be any more
Like this is, so the
surprises,
sprinkler
hopefully?
part of this project was the entire building, even including the basement. So anywhere that they're having to abate for this, this is throughout the building. So this should take care of us as the sprinkler system go, and the connections for it. This should take care of us throughout. We shouldn't have any more of this.
She's asking the questions, do anyone asbestos, I think is what she's asking, right?
Well, we know there's still some pipe wrap duct insulation in the walls that's still there. And we know when we spot abate in these classrooms, the part that we leave is still going to have the asbestos in the glue. But it's not, it's not hurting anything behind the ceiling, not being disturbed. But we'll still continue to be required to do air quality testing like the schools do when the schools have it in it. We'll do annual air quality testing just to make sure that everybody's comfortable with it.
Okay. Other questions? Do we have a motion on this one? We do, don't we? All right, well, let's carry the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Josh, you got one more. Young man.
So on June 29th, we had a train down here to look at our HVAC system at Jenny Rogers. The heat wasn't working real well, the air wasn't working well in the gym, the cafeteria was kind of coming in and out, and they were there on the 29th, worked on it for a couple of days, got some parts, got it working really well. And then I had a meeting there on July 5th after the holiday, and nothing was working. So we called them back down, and all of the systems were fried. It is assumed that the units were struck by lightning during that lightning storm we had on July 2nd. So we're going to file an insurance claim. I've sent that to Ashley today to get the insurance claim filed with the report from Train saying it was a lightning strike. Bad news is the total cost to replace those units for the gym and cafeteria is $48,975. The good thing is we get to file an insurance claim on 20-year-old HVAC units that we probably had 5 years left on them. So we're asking tonight to go ahead and procure those units, like I said, for $48,975. The cafeteria units are in stock. We'll have those in a couple of weeks. The lead time on the gym unit is 27 weeks, which puts us into January. Train thinks that it'll be able to heat. They think the systems that got fried were the compressor for the air, so that we'll be able to heat come basketball season. But the gym is not able to be used right now for any events. It's very hot in there. Now, we've moved some portable cooling fans in there to help with like pickleball. I think they're still trying to use it, but it's about as hot in there as it is outside, so it's we're kind of letting them decide what they want to do. But like the library had to move their events for the rest of the summer, which we were pretty bummed about because they have pretty good events in there throughout the summer, the library does. But we'd like to go ahead and procure these so we can get these coming, so the sooner we can get it here, the better.
So does this come off the total that we got from Anthony the other day with the rest of the heating and air?
So this is new. This is all new. This is new costs, but like I said, we'll file an insurance claim to cover this cost.
This is just a purchase.
This is just the purchase
So
of
this is
material.
not the installation,
It's
like
not-
last time we had the purchase for
Yep.
68 and then.
This is
it's
just the
not
purchase,
installation.
yeah.
Okay.
And Train has asked if we want to put this on top of their contract that they have with us. I told them to hold off right now until we figure out how insurance wants to handle it, because we want to make sure we follow the procedures that they want us to, so we get our money back.
Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve Resolution 202307-2406.
Thank you, ma'am. A second?
Second?
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Not all those in favor of passing Resolution 06, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioners. Wow, that was 4 of them, right? I guess I need to entertain a motion for an executive session that's going to be 5 minutes or less. Somebody want to make that motion? It's about personnel?
And property acquisition.
Oh, well, take the 5 minutes off the table then. Don't it?
Which one?
I tried, okay.
Personnel and
Can I get a motion?
Both of them?
Seeing there's no motion for executive session, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter pursuant to KRS 61-810-1F and property acquisition, potential for real property acquisition for which publicity at present stage might or would be likely to affect the value per KRS 61-810-1B.
Second.
Could you repeat that motion?
Huh?
Read it back.
It's been go in executive session. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. City Manager?
Real quick, I wanted, should have updated this during the city manager report. The text to 911, we've been working on that forever. Rebecca and the folks, I mean, she has taken the lead on it initially for sure, and IT and whatnot, but we look like we're going to be able to go live on the 31st of July. So that's a big deal, and just wanted to point that out, and for whatever reason, it got past me. Staff is recommending the hiring of Kimberly Sanders to the position of utility clerk.
Okay. Is there a motion to hire Ms. Sanders?
I approve the motion to hire Ms. Sanders as presented.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Yes, sir. Next.
Staff is asking you to accept the resignation of Kyle Lyons from the police department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.